It is on.
I'm a fish.
It's on. You were just looking at Xanathars and you're just like, I'm a fish.
Oh, look at it. It's so fucking happy.
Yeah, it's a Xanathar's fish. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brandon Wynn.
My name's Edward Burns.
And apparently you're a fish. So this is Critical Failure. This is, the 5th time we've tried this video, and I've lost hope into it so many times.
I don't even expect this video to really go up.
Same. But this video is on my Homebrew Monster called the Kaaten. It's imagine a giant bone scorpion, but with humanoid, meaning dwarf, hellfish.
So like sentient humanoid creatures, mainly, or
yeah, like orcs, stuff like that, like sprawled across it, like stitched, like their skin and muscles and sinew are stitched, but they're more for like decoration than anything.
Yeah, and the way you described it before is it's like it's not exoskeleton, it's an endoskeleton.
Yeah, it has an endoskeleton, but like it's not like anything really cool. Like you'll see like arms and stuff like that kind of like hanging out, but it's like they're more like just there rather than anything. Like I guess you could say like the like you could see just because like you could see arms are like more for like their legs, which are their actual legs. Like you just see arms stitched together to where it's like looks like it's just kind of like walking on their arms, like very retardedly. But I figured that'd be a nice horror element. Like the tail is just basically just like torsos lined up and just stitched to it until like the very end where it's like, you know, that ball with the stinger attached to it, which I found really cool because I was thinking about that while I was at work for some reason. And the pincers could be like made out of just like hand flesh.
I imagine the pincers part would be more bone-like though.
Yeah, it's gonna be much slimmer and more like
fleshy.
Bones.
It's just like it's not really like. Just imagine a crab with fleshy claws.
Well, there's still the bone under it. It's going to be extremely thin.
Yeah, no.
But like towards the tip, where in the like the more bladed area is going to be more like torn away, and it's like
all right.
It's still like
so it's going to be like that dude in 300. It's in like one scene where he's just lopping off people's heads, and he's like, "This is my only purpose in life because they cut my arms off and made them blades."
Sure,
that's a fat man,
I guess. But the origin of this was. A necromantic wizard went to Vecna, into which that was his idea.
My idea was Vecna made it.
Yeah,
your
Vecna
idea
made
was the wizard would talk to Vecna.
The Vecna part was your thing, is what I was saying. But Vecna made it, and a wizard decided that he'll do whatever to get basically stronger, get an army of undead.
Yeah,
it was like
he's trying to learn the cheat codes for undead army.
Yeah, and he was like, "Here you go. Step A." Whatever.
Up,
Step
down,
B.
left, right. B, 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 Y.
Up, down, left, right, B, A, stock, start.
Yeah, I wasn't doing that code. I was just making up one.
But, yeah, he was trying to, basically make an undead army, into which he decided to make, he had this lying around. He was like, you know what, here you go. And eventually, depending on how you want to run it in your campaign, a demon or a devil could magically stumble upon this, so Mephistopheles could probably have one of his minions magically find this, or he himself. So probably hit more Mephistopheles himself. But this would be a really cool demon or devil creature. Could be both, not at the same time. It's like whatever you want to use it for. But it has an AC of 18 because, you know, it's very dense bone. It has an average HP count of 150. Its max would be 300. It has a walking speed of 40. So, but if 2 legs are cut, its speed is halved, and if another set, so 2 sets are cut off, then its speed is 10. It's a size huge, and it has a strength of 18, which is +4, dexterity of 22, which is a +6. Now, if you cut off a pair of legs, it would be, I think I said last time, 18, and then if you cut off 2 pairs, it would be a 6. It has a constitution of 19, which is a +4. An intelligence of 8, which is a +1, so it can kind of rationalize, but it's retarded. It's like me on the average day. It has a wisdom of 2, so it learns from its mistakes and can kind of plan. It has a charisma of 2, so no one really wants to talk to this thing. It's really, really not that good looking anyway.
That's just when I make a character and I run up and I shake one of the dangly arms. I'm like, how's it going, sir?
And then you just make it kill you. That's when it uses one of its abilities to
That's
kill
just when I throw Pat Pat at it.
you. Shout out to Pat Pat from another campaign that killed it.
Mm-hmm.
Its skills that it's proficient in are Perception and Survival, which would be a 8 and a 6. I don't know how I got it. Perception as 8, but I apparently did. It has a passive perception of 14, and it has true vision of up to 30 feet, but it can't see in magical darkness. True sight, sorry. And it has dark vision up to 120 feet. It can speak Abyssal or Infernal, depending on who you have it made by, but it can speak all languages. It has resistances to necrotic, poison, acid, and lightning, while being immune to charmed, blindness, fire, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons. And its weaknesses are its legs. So if you do 20 points of damage or more to a leg, it will be severed. But you have to remember, you have to sever 2 legs just to be able to make it lose speed.
So it's like the Hydra. You know, you gotta do a set amount of damage. And is it gonna be in one turn or is it just overall? Because in one Hydra
attack.
It's one turn.
Yeah, it's in one attack.
Yeah. Okay.
It has magical weapons, so its claw, its mouth, and its stinger are considered magical weapons. So, you know, magic items that like have it to where you have to have
Resist
magical weapons.
non-magic.
Yeah, it'll be going through that. It has magic blood to where it can add to any of its weapons 1d4 poison damage.
Yeah, just vomits up blood all over itself.
Oh, I realized that I was wrong. It was fire damage, but I decided to kind of like use a different ability to make it fire damage. So this will say on my thing fire damage up here, but it's actually meant to be down here. I just got to erase and put poison there. So it's much like the Blood Hunter's Crimson Right damage die for a D4, because that's what it is. And it just kind of spits it onto its whatever it wants to spit it on, and it'll just do a D4 of poison damage.
That's nasty.
Yeah, and it doesn't affect it. It doesn't need its bile or its blood or anything. It just happens to have it, and it'll just spit on it. It has a stinger, which, of course, it does 2d6 piercing damage plus 6, which the plus 6 will always remain because even if it's getting slowed down, the dexterity was more for its tail than anything. So it would always remain as a plus 6. Plus 1d6 poison. Sorry. It has its claws and pincers, which do 2d6 slashing damage, plus its strength, which is plus 4. And it has its maw, which does 1d6 piercing damage plus 4. And now it has an attack called Spew, which adds 1d4 fire damage to its mouth if it's basically biting anyone. It kind of does it like on its own.
So did you do that because of more of the like infernal or demonic organs that you wanted to go with?
Yeah, that one. And it can. I was thinking more devilish for some reason, but it can spit out fire within 30 feet in a line. I found the line would be kind of like more weird.
Just imagine it's like, check out my mixtape, boy.
Now it has 3 legendary actions. It can do any one of these, and of course, it's one of its weapons attack is considered a magical. A legendary action. It has the ability called Origin, which basically, depending on which type of creature made it, so a demon or a devil, it can call 4 imps or quasits, again, depending on what it is. So the devil would be imps, and then demons would be quasits.
So what happens if just an ordinary necromancer made it?
I would say that the only way you can get it is through one of those channels, except Vecna, but if Vecna makes it, then...
Well, if someone
DM
writes down the lore, once the knowledge is learnt and it's written down, then other people could eventually find out.
Yeah, I would say...
Because, wizards write down their spells.
I would say that's more up to DM to decide at that point, because this is just basic broadness, and that's how I would see it. I wouldn't personally run it unless Vecna himself kind of puts it in there, but at that point, it's whatever the god wants.
Yeah, but, once someone learns it, then the knowledge is learned. And
I would say...
it'll be out in the world, it'll just be rare.
If it's done by another spellcaster, like a wizard, I don't think it would really be able to do anything at that point to have the ability to do that, because I think it because this is through demonic means, which is much more powerful than any human or humanoid. I think
wish spell would like to have a word with you.
Yeah, but this is that's wish. That's completely different. That's a 9th level spell. Plus, I'm putting in very low creatures for this, not anything like I wanted to do, which are like chain devils and bone devils and shit. This is more for just immediate backup and stuff like that. Into which it can do this every fucking other round, so it will immediately fuck it like anyone it can. But I thought this would be really cool to add because it's depending on where its home is from or where it made it.
Did you just say you could summon those every round?
As a legendary action, yes.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of like game breaking, summoning that many things on a legendary action.
It's 4.
Yeah, but if you do it every round, that's
literally what the gods could do.
It goes 4, 12, then,
16.
Yeah.
The gods could do 1d6.
Yeah, but those are gods, summoning other gods, battle buddies. This is just a creature that's fucking, retarded. It's just a big mass of...
Yeah, this is not meant to be something that can be easy. This is meant to...
No. I'm talking about just ordinary, balance. I don't know...
Remember, this is also the prototype, and it's more or less just something that was,
Yeah, but if this is the prototype, and you can summon, a small army in a few seconds...
Well, remember, this has to... I was going to add a recharge of 1d6
Let's see.
After 3 uses. And it would be
you
on
give
6.
it, 1 minute... what?
It's hella.
That's 40 imps or quasits running around.
I would say give them minion stats though. At that point.
Yeah.
At a point, just give them minion stats.
I think in general, if you use that ability, you'd probably be better.
Yeah.
On minion.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Is just give them minion stats because they'll do normal damage, but you hit them, they die regardless. Even if
you spawn that, that's
at that point, I might as well just spawn 40 imps on one turn and just be like, here you go. You're not getting experience, but here you go.
Yeah, you're just gonna experience death.
Yeah, you probably would. But another one is called Horde Flesh, which is basically more of a general ability it has. But you have to, the player has to make a DC 18
strength
wisdom save. Wisdom save, or be paralyzed from fear. Now it's more of a frightened paralyzed thing because you're so frightened you can't move instead of being frightened the ailment you're running away.
Run away.
Yeah, this is more you're stuck and you're oh god, that's fucking horrible. Now this is ignored by any class where you can't be frightened, so Blood Hunter eventually and Paladin and such like that. And the last one, which I found really fun, is Rampage. So basically this guy can at any moment, as long as it runs for more than 20 feet, so it does a dash, it can pick up 1 or 2 creatures in its target path and pinch them with your pincers and basically grappling them. And you have to make a contested roll against it to break out of its grasp or be considered grappled. Now, if it does it to one thing, it already has disadvantage because you can't play basically a true size large, correct? Unless you make it a homebrew class. Or race, I should say.
I mean, if you're Goliath, that's large, but that still doesn't put you on scale. A Goliath Barbarian?
A Goliath would still have a disadvantage, correct?
No, if you had a Goliath Barbarian, because you would be considered large, and then with Rage, you would have advantage on strength check, so I think it would break even. And if you pick maybe Bear, no, that's just push, lift, and drag. I don't know if that would help. I would kind of let it work with powerful build. But...
I would say still disadvantage for powerful build unless you're doing you're saying.
Well, yeah, with the barbarian, I want to do it just a base Goliath, but would not still have advantage.
Yeah, but basically it grabs you and pins you to the ground with both of its pincers, and you're stuck. You're pretty fucked because you're getting normal pincer damage, and if it's both pincers, it's both attacks at the same time. So that's a lot of damage, and it will pinch you with that stinger repeatedly,
and then it will just beat you with an army of imps.
Yeah, they're just all gonna go eat. Yeah, just imagine that as a party. It's 6 of you, and you're I'm gonna whoop this thing's ass. And it's oh really now? And just to one guy and just with its stinger.
Shit, man, you'd probably be better off just focusing all your fire on that big monster.
I would say it would take 30 HP to cut off the stinger. I would say that.
No, I was talking about Kill the big monster
Kill the
first.
big monster first, definitely.
And then it would stop like the army of imps.
I'm gonna say if the thing dies, all the
unless
things
you have
disappear.
spellcasters, because with minions, spellcasters like fireball, boom.
Yeah, like spellcasting completely affects it. Besides from like its immunities or resistances, like it doesn't not just reflect it like how I had Broggy. I think it's like anti-magic field. I really enjoyed that. Excuse me, because it's just like it's a rude thing to do, but it's like it makes kind of sense to me. At least to me, because I'm making these to make sense for me, not necessarily much of any else.
Yeah, it's homebrew. You just do whatever you want.
But yeah, the Kaaten, was basically like kind of introduced in one of my games. Like I described it, I wanted to implement it more, but sadly that campaign was scrapped because a couple of issues dealing with kind of players and time and stuff like that. Head knows about one of those players. That entire campaign was really fun to me and possibly you, and then it just kind of...
Miss Pat Pat. Bring back Pat Pat.
That needs to be...
Make Pat Pat great again.
If we get famous, that needs to be a shirt. Make Pat Pat great again. I'm going to make Pat Pat a thing into our next campaign. It's going to be a thing. And then everyone's going to, if they're watching, like, please stop fucking making those sounds. Just for the love of God. And possibly there's going to be that one person that's like, I love Pat Pat forever. And I'll be like, shout out to that motherfucker. I like you. And I'm like, which pretty much was the bass sound for Pat Pat.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have a zombie goblin.
Yeah, that loses all fucking intelligence. And just carried a goddamn fucking great sword. And have disadvantage on its attacks, but would always magically hit. Remember, I was trying to get like the same game, which this is actually something that I would like to say before we end is. Remember, I had a piece of like plate armor that
the cursed one.
Yeah, it was a cursed plate armor, and if one of the characters were to critical, he'd have to re-roll it, just automatically, and it's basically every time he criticals, he has to re-roll it. So I was just like, ooh, that's a dick thing to do. And, like, I didn't roll it on... Like, I had him roll the thing on the random dice table, and that's what he got. And I told him, all right, whenever you critical next, while wearing this, let me know. And he was just like, all right, never fucking wore it. He was like...
You shouldn't have said something like that. Like, you should have just, like, all right, are you going to put that armor on? And then just, like, have, like, a little gnome, like, oh, you crit it. Oh, re-roll. Like, don't ever, like, tell your player, like, hey, tell me when you critical roll on, like, this armor.
Yeah, you never put it on.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it on either if you said something like that to me. I'm like, alright, there's something fishy with this. Nope. Gonna set this to the side. Give it to old Jimmy.